It's a new week. We have some new gamma exposure levels, and this is a new weekly analysis. We will take a look at some potential swing trades for the week, as well as actually take a look into next week's gamma exposure profile, because there's something I want to point out. As usual, let's take a look at the levels that I marked off for this week, as well as some of the notes that I shared with the Quant Trading app members this morning. This is our first normal-ish looking gamma exposure profile. We have not seen something that looks this simple in a while. More specifically, we're actually seeing a decent amount of net positive gamma exposure, and that is the green level that I have highlighted here. The market is right at the cusp of the net positive gamma exposure for the week. So that's right in this level here. This is a significant zone for the markets, and it should actually act as either a magnet or a support for the week. I don't really think the bears have much of a shot this week unless the markets can get below this area here. I'm going to have a slightly bullish bias. However, we are dealing with a major catalyst. Trump posted this last week, essentially giving a ultimatum or a deadline for tomorrow. This is Monday. That can throw things into a whack depending on how the world responds. So even though the gamma exposure profile appears to be pretty normal looking or relatively safe considering what we've been seeing, we still need to be defensive here, as this is a major catalyst or major news that will warrant a response from the markets. So there is still some major headlines to be aware of. There's a ton of absolute gamma in this region. This will generally act as a magnet for price, as we are seeing here today. It's very simple when we have gamma exposure profiles look like this. Say, for example, this was the 0 DTE gamma exposure profile on the SPX. Earlier here today, I just reshared this within QTA and said I shouldn't even have to say anything at this point. You see a gamma exposure profile that looks like that. If we take a look at the SPX, it generally means we're going to have some sort of consolidation around this level. And what do we know? This is 6,600. The market has essentially spent the past few hours just oscillating around this level, making it very easy for 0 DTE theta-based traders as an iron fly, an iron condor, a put credit spread, a call credit spread, whatever type of trade you want to trade, as long as it is a short vega and it is expecting some sort of choppy price action, you are going to be profitable. But I don't generally focus on 0 DTE gamma exposure profiles in this weekly gamma exposure playlist, as this is for our analysis for the whole week, because by the time I get this video up to you guys on YouTube, it is about how can you A, learn first and foremost, but B, be able to capitalize off of potential swing trades using specifically spreads, as they are easier to manage and easier to get into, even if you're not getting into them at the exact same time as another trader. They generally need some time to pass by and theta to kick in. So even if you watch my videos at the end of the day or come in early on the next day with some of the thoughts that you're seeing from a Monday night, they are still applicable towards other positions later in the week. The G flip is right here at 662, so that is well within reach, and we also have the highest positive gamma strike. So this whole area here is essentially where bulls will expect the market to go and sit around for a bit, or at least that is my expectation. 665 is definitely possible, and all the way up to 670 this week, but this would be the actual reach, I would say, again, unless there is a major catalyst. Let's just say all issues are resolved and the markets responds very positively pertaining to what's going on with the US and Iran, then we can see some sort of rally all the way up to 670. But in isolation, catalyst aside, news-driven catalyst aside, that's the way I would say would be a smart way to approach the week, is to use this as your conservative bullish targets. This should be your final PT, and if the market goes up to 670, that should essentially be a lotto. The CPI report is pre-markets on Friday, so that is another major catalyst to be on your calendar. We can see that the VIX is holding up, but if the VIX does break down below this level, then that's definitely going to help the bullish case for the markets going up to 670 this week. Conservatively, target 665. Think about 670 as a bonus. By the time the market gets above 665, if it gets above it this week, you should not have that much risk on left for this week, in my opinion. That doesn't mean you don't want to have some positions for next week targeting 670, but that is the approach in which I like to have. Meaning, let's just say I am long calls and the market goes up to 665 tomorrow or Wednesday. I will essentially be taking profits, maybe leaving one runner, but I will essentially be done with trading for the week if my profit target is hit based on this analysis. The ADS-PD is holding up relatively nice all day here today, so that is coinciding with just expecting the markets to stay within this region, as well as lead into a case that's catalyst aside, maybe we will continue to hold tomorrow and the markets will drift up to here. We should see the VIX break down below this level. Now for the bears, there isn't really much other than these major spikes that happen every 5 points, which is common on the SPY. Remember, when we do this gamma exposure analysis, we are looking for outliers, we are looking for quirks, we are looking for things that don't make sense, and we want to see if we can exploit them as an edge. The main level for bears, or the main key strike to have in mind, is 640. I don't think the market is going to be below 630 potentially for the rest of the quarter, again, unless there is a headlines that actually causes the market to get down below 630, but my expectation would be this level should hold up for the entire quarter without any major poor news. I'm making sure to emphasize that again. If it was not for the spike in oil prices and the ramifications of the news catalysts from the wars and everything that's going on, in my opinion, just based on the data, there is no reason for the markets to be below 630 for this quarter. So I'm just going to continue to address that, I think, from a weekly standpoint moving forward. As I mentioned last week, it was the same thing for 630. I did not think the market was going to be below 630. It is still lighting up for a lot of expirations, so we want to keep that in mind. The way things look to me, or the way the data is looking like to me, is traders are using 640 as a level to hedge for any of these scary headlines, and then they are essentially looking to take profits at 630. That means we are seeing a lot of activity lighting up here, but I'm not really seeing that much below it to think or warrant that the market is going to go much lower. If we take a look at next week gamma exposure profile, we can see 640 is the dominant strike, and then we can see 630 is also lighting up. Obviously there's 620 because this is 10 points lower, but this is something that I also want to address for next week. Why I'm not looking to be overly bullish just as yet. There's still a little bit of things to be concerned with going into next week. Now for this week here, we have our usual accounts builder iron fly. I actually did not label it, so let me just put on accounts builder. As you guys know, I like to call this. This is a trade I've been running or sharing with you guys on YouTube week after week after week, and you guys have seen at this point how consistent and reliable it has become. Now it looks like when I open it this morning, implied volatility has increased, and that is not cool or not fun. I'm actually running this one live with a decent size here, so I'm looking to hold for this week, but implied volatility is increasing. Shortly after I opened it, when I looked back, I figured I should have actually ran with a calendar for it next week. But sometimes you live and you learn. I don't like to then add other positions or so forth. I'll take a look to see how things are looking for tomorrow. But if I was to do it all over again, I would have actually went with a calendar targeting 6,600, probably going with something like a 4-term or a 7-term structure. So essentially going with next week Friday and then going with the following Friday for the back month. But we'll see. We'll analyze this when I do either the midweek check-in or the video at the end of this week. We'll compare how this iron fly is doing in relation to the iron condor. This is also just another position that you guys know I like to run, the XSP. It is essentially just looking for a little bit more theta around this 6,600 level, which is right around in this area here for the SPY, as I am expecting some sort of consolidation here. For the SPY, if you're looking to hedge, I actually did decide to run some hedges personally this week, so I'm just sharing this with you guys, is essentially using 640. If the data is telling me it looks like a lot of traders are hedging for 640, then I want to be alongside them and I'm going to hedge for 640. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory here. I like to trade positions if I'm looking for a hedge on the SPY around $100. Notice I'm using the weekly expirations to hedge the SPY as they protect for the longer dated SPX positions. There's less risk on this trade to the upside, so I don't really feel much of the need to hedge a position like this for the upside, as it has a decent amount of room, and if implied volatility goes down as the market goes up, it tends to help these types of spreads. The XSP spread is essentially just extra sauce on the side, as I like to call it. It's just the position that, hey, if the market is still choppy, maybe I can squeeze out an extra couple $100 that can essentially cover commissions on all the other positions depending on the size in which I'm trading or the size in which you might be trading as an individual. Don't neglect the XSP. It is a great extra little thing to have on the side. Here's our weekly iron condor for this week. I'm actually not running an iron condor this week, so this one I'm sharing with you guys just to keep the series going and to keep it consistent, but I actually was not interested in iron condor. To be honest, I just woke up and I didn't really feel like I wanted to be in an iron condor this week. I'd rather put my capital towards some other positions. But if I were to run an iron condor, this is essentially what I'd be looking at. It's using 645, so this level down here, and then using 667, so just above this strike here. So it's around this range here. Yes, it is a tight or narrow iron condor, but you guys know that is how I like to approach these iron condors. I like to get as narrow as I think as possible to collect the most amount of premium, but yet still have an extremely high win rates. Or the previous 10 weekly videos in which I have done have all shown these iron condors to be working. Yes, you can run an iron condor using $1 million to collect $10 in premium, but why use that much capital when I'm showing you guys you can still have a decent ratio here and still contain a nice win rate? Not everyone has a large account that they want to use so much margin. Even if your win rate is 99.9% accurate, not everyone likes to trade that way. So that's why I demonstrate on this channel iron condors that might be a little bit unconventional. If I saw these type of iron condors when I first started trading them, I think I would have been much more successful. I started trading the iron condors trying to make them too wide, and then I started making them too narrow, and then I realized that for me it worked better going with the sweet spot somewhere in the middle. Using the gamma exposure allows me to come up with conviction with my iron condors, and that's where I'm essentially getting my ranges from. It is based on how I analyze the gamma exposure profile in conjunction with some other analysis. Now, this is a personal trade left over from last week that might not really be relevant for you guys, but I figure why not just keep you updated on how this is going. I'm still in it just because it does offer a little bit, some downside protection here. Not necessarily protection, but there's room to make a really nice big trade maybe by Wednesday or so. I don't really have that much risk to the upside. The market goes up a little bit more. I'm just risking some of the profits, which it's currently up over $500. It's up over 600 earlier today, but I'm just going to sit in it for a little bit longer as again, I'm not really that afraid of if the market was to explode and go up to the upside here. And I don't like to focus on 0 DTE positions for this YouTube series, but again, with a profile like this, when I wake up, it's either going to be an iron fly, an iron condor, or 0 DTE iron condor, or 0 DTE iron fly. But today I went with a broken wing XSP iron butterfly here, a few lots of this, and this is my 0 DTE trade, essentially just looking for the markets to be choppy around 660, and we can see that the market is going to close in an hour and a half or so. And if it ends up pinning here, then this is a great trade. It wasn't really that stressful. It never really dipped that deep into the red, and it's not using that much capital, relatively speaking. This is a decent amount of risk for a small account for a 0 DT position, but that's with 4 lots. So whether you're in one, this could be considered a lot of risk for a smaller account, but still I'm showcasing to you guys how I'm applying gamma exposure analysis for 0 DTE to just bring in some extra P&L to get a good start on the week, to potentially soften the blow on maybe if some of the other trades suffer a drawdown based on tomorrow's catalyst, as today looked like it was the easy profile to assess. Lastly, I just want to point out something as some of the other Quant Trading app members are trading, specifically this position right here. Now, Z23 has been in QTA for a while. I don't know exactly how long, let's just say 4 years or so. He took a break and then he came back, and he's been making a killing this year. And he's been trading a lot of diagonals and combining them with butterfly spreads. And he started trading the butterfly spreads in addition to the diagonals to protect his positions if the market was to go up and implied volatility comes down. So it's similar to the merge cow fly that I like running, but this is much more complicated. This is to show you guys that you can grow into much more complicated spreads. The type of positions that I share, I'm doing my best to keep them as elementary as possible or as simple as possible for some of you guys that are new. But after you get some experience in the market, you can start extrapolating some of the ideas and the analysis into much larger positions, and not necessarily just position size, because obviously he would be trading with a larger account, or they would be trading with a larger account. So this may look like a lot of capital for you, but maybe for them this is actually a tenth of their portfolio, so it's not really that much in which he's risking over the span of 11 days. As you see, they are going with next week expiration, which was one of the things I encourage a lot of traders whenever they first come in with QTA and they first start trading weekly options and they're struggling, especially with trades like diagonals and calendars. I always just say, just go with the following Friday and following Monday. Use that term structure. It's going to be easier to learn what you're doing. In this case here, they're just demonstrating that if they hold until Monday, what the potential profits would be like. like even if it's half of that because implied volatility decreases, this is still a solid trade. They're offering themselves a decent amount of range. Again, this is in theory here because it is going to change depending on what happens with implied volatility, but they're making sure to showcase what's the implied volatility is for these two expirations from now, as it is a trade that they opened this morning. This is exactly how I like to take my notes. So this is a great job, and this is something that I wanted to showcase on this YouTube channel, that there are a lot of excellent ways to squeeze out a lot of profit, especially for the way the market has been trading this year. There are traders that are up at least six figures already from the year within QTA that I'm aware of, just taking some of the information from the weekly videos that I'm putting out for you guys here on YouTube, as well as some of my brief notes here, and then applying the information to themselves, their own approach, their own style of trading. I am not running as much diagonals as I would like to, but I'm watching the success, and I'm very happy to see what some of the other traders are doing. And there are all sorts of other strategies that are running across the board, not only in QTA but across the entire world. That is the beauty of the stock market, and specifically options and option spreads. When you have an edge, something like gamma exposure, and you're using additional tools like QTA, things can become systematic for yourself, and it's actually not that stressful to trade, even though the market has been pretty chaotic. If we take a look at the daily time frame, we can see that it did bounce off of this 630 level, which was this 2-year anchored VWAP. So that's all the way back here. That was anchored from the start of last year. But take a look at this. This is not shocking. It's not a surprise. This was called out, or mentioned way back here, as these were the two anchored VWAPs to be aware of on your charts. 630 was always going to be a significant strike, as I started mentioning it weeks in advance. Just like last week's video, I was addressing things that I'm thinking about for the rest of the year. The same way this week, I'm talking about things that I'm expecting for the whole quarter. I'm expecting 630 to hold for the next couple months, potentially into the next earnings season, unless there is some crazy catalyst. The videos I made last week were addressing this spike in volume here and how to take that information away, as well as what to potentially expect. Now, the market is still below the 200-day moving average, so we're not out of the woods just as yet. And again, we still have some major catalysts on the horizon. Regarding the volume profile for this week, there isn't really much to report here. I just made this lighter because it's not that irrelevant, but I didn't want to delete it just as yet, as it's dated all the way back to 2025. But the only thing that I did, aside from lower the opacity of that and remove the other one, is I just added last week's value area low. I didn't bother to add last week's value area high, as it coincides with this point of control still from back here. It's not a virgin point of control, but as it has been touched a few times, or a naked point of control as some people call it, but it is still in play right now, so that's why it's still up. But this was the supply zone that was mentioned last week, and here it is. It is acting as a supply zone as the market is chewing through it. Now, once this supply dries up, if it dries up and the market gets above it, guess where it's going to go? Up to this level right here of 6,700, in which it will potentially meet some resistance up at that supply zone. If it can clear here, there is some supply or potential supply up here, but I didn't bother to mark it out. As you guys know, I don't like to clutter my charts with too much. This was a major pivot point right here, so it is something to be aware of around that 6,760 level. Just because I don't have it marked on a chart doesn't mean you don't want to have it marked on your charts. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just set an alert on my chart right now, just so I don't completely miss it, which is something I love about Thinkorswim, is we can, set alerts and stuff like that, and boom. Now I have it on my chart there. But that aside, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you guys all have a great week, and I look forward to hearing from some of you guys, and hopefully at the end of this week you guys have all made some money. In an ideal world, the market just chops around here for the next few days, and we all walk away with a lot of money doing very little trading with some of our non-directional spreads for the week. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment down below, like the video if you learned something, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new here, and I'll catch you in the next one.